So now we've found three different confidence intervals, and we've got three different ranges we're looking at. So for a 99% confidence interval, we got a range from about 9.8 to about 10.04. For a 95% confidence interval, we got a range from 9.83, let's say, to 10.003. And for 90%, we got 9.84 to 9.99, right? And it makes sense. This is how confidence intervals work, that the 99% confidence interval is the widest. 95% because we're less confident. We can cover fewer possibilities, and so that gets narrower. And then the inside or the innermost one is the 90% confidence interval because we're the least confident. But what do each of these say about if the machine is cheating customers and which should we use? So for our 99% confidence interval, 10 is inside of the interval, which means it's possible that the machine is fair. Same thing for 95%. 10 is inside of the interval, so it's possible that it's fair. For the 90% confidence interval, 10 is outside of the interval, so we would say that the machine is unfair. But this means I have some answers that say that the machine's fair and some that it's unfair. And the confidence level that I want to use depends on the situation. So if I worked for a law firm and we think, ooh, these machines, they are really cheating customers. I want to make a legal case that this is um, an unfair machine. I might look at this and say, hey, that's pretty good. There's my evidence that this is an unfair machine. But I'm only 90% confident. And the defense will come along and say, maybe we're in the other 10%, right? Maybe my client just got unlucky, was in the other 10%. So if I was in a legal case and I was defending myself, I might say, you know what, we have to be 99% sure. And if you look at 99% sure, it's possible this machine is fair. Now, I think in both of those cases, remember when we go back to our conditions up here, that we didn't have a sample that was large enough. So in both of those situations, we probably want to get a bigger sample, whether we are the defense or the prosecution. We're going to want a bigger, more reliable sample in either case. Now, going back to these confidence intervals, let's say we have a different situation, and we just want to know, should we send out the repairman, right? Maybe the machine's broken and we just need to decide, like, do we need to send out the repairman to fix this machine? In that case, a 90% confidence interval might be just fine. We don't have to be super confident because, like, what's the worst case here? The worst case is that the guy just goes to the machine and doesn't have to do anything. So the guy's cool because the machine's okay. So generally, if we're thinking about this spectrum from the most confident we can be down to when we're less confident. At the less confident end, we're going to do situations where, maybe there's not really a big penalty for us being wrong. Like if we send the repairman and the machine's actually okay, that's not a huge penalty. We haven't lost a lot of money. So down here are situations where it's okay to make mistakes. Okay. At the most confident end, these are situations where it's not okay. to make mistakes. Maybe we're dealing with stuff that's life and death. Okay, so life and death kind of stuff, we want to be as sure as possible. Maybe we're looking at things that are very expensive and we don't want to make an expensive mistake. So those are situations where we want to be more confident. Maybe I'm just doing some testing for something in my home or in my kitchen or for my own knowledge. And that might be a situation where I'm okay being a little bit less confident because there aren't big penalties to making a mistake in that case. So hopefully that helps you. I think in this case, if we assume that we're just trying to decide if we should send the repairman out, I would use this one and I would say, you know what? It seems like maybe the machine's unfair. Let's send the guy out to check it.